out and plenty to do. So get the gossip, get the scoop, and tune right into the editorial to keep you in the loop. It's the editorial, a Wichita by EB podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of the editorial. Today's guests are, I think they just said, the fabulous women of the restaurant dining scene. Is that right? I have Jen Ray from the Monarch and Brooke Russell with Public at the Brickyard.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Hi, we're happy to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So you guys are the power players.
Is that why we're here?
Probably, I would say that. I mean,
Who said that? Who said that?
I'm gonna say it.
That was not. We did not name ourselves.
I'm gonna. Can
The
I
power players.
name you all the power players?
Sure.
Do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're here for it.
So do you guys want to do a quick introduction of yourself and who you are, what you own, and what you
Well,
love?
My name is Jen Ray. I own the Monarch. I've had it since 2012. We're over in Delano, and I'm power player number 1.
So that makes me number 2.
Yeah.
What if I want to be number 1? No, Jen Ray is power player number 1. I am Brooke Russell, and I own Public at the Brickyard in Old Town. And we also opened in 2012, I believe 6 months before the Monarch did. So Jen and I have been in it together since 2012.
Did you all know each other before?
No.
No.
But I do think that you have to be power player number 1.
Yeah, since you're up first.
I'll
Yeah.
take the number 2 spot.
Yeah. So what was
I can edit that part
Did-
out.
yeah.
but yeah.
We did not know each other before. We
right.
had the same graphic designer who was going back and forth between us, telling me what Brooke was doing. I'm sure telling Brooke what Jen was doing. And that was the common thread when we finally met each other.
And you've been in the industry for a while because you were over at Biggins before.
Biggins.
Yes.
Back when Old Town was the place to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Which, we could fall down that rabbit hole talking about 2-for-1 Wednesdays and
Oh my gosh, the line
Heroes
wrapped,
on Saturdays.
line
and
wrapped all the way around the building.
I know.
And-
It was so much fun.
Brooke,
Oh, you can still have all
Yeah.
that fun. It's still here.
going
It's
further
still
down.
here for
Come
you.
on down to the Public.
I think if we were real power players, and you would be power player number 3,
Like
let's
33. or
let's
103.
pool our power and reopen Heroes.
You think it's doable?
At least for the Kamikazes and
I was
the
there
Rolling
for,
Rocks.
I was there for the Long Island iced teas on Saturdays.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Quick side note story. One of the last months of Heroes, my friends and I, we were down eating at, I think, Playa Azul, and it was around like 7 o'clock. And we're like, let's just go out and have some drinks real quick, and we're like, let's just walk over to Heroes. We haven't been to Heroes in 10 years after, 7 o'clock. So we walk in there, and the place is empty. And we go to order a drink, and there's no one to take our order. And I was like, do we just pour our own drinks or what? So we walk outside to see if anybody's out there over in a little patio area, and we see this car zooming up, and this lady walks out, reeks of weed, and she goes, oh my gosh, you guys need, sorry, I had to go get a smoke break. I'm like, yeah, smells like it. walks up to the bar, is like, what do you guys all want? And we're like, okay. So we had one drink and we left. But that's my last
Eddie's
hero
coming
story.
out with it.
Yeah. I
He's coming out with the stories.
Everyone talks about what a difficult industry being in the restaurant industry is so tough, but there's definite little litmus tests. Like, did your bartender drive around the street to get high? Oh shit, it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
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 It seems simple. It seems like you don't want that to happen.
It made for a good story, though.
That's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
story.
So,
Yeah.
Brooke, what's your background in the restaurant industry?
So Travis and I met working at a restaurant in Lawrence. And so I was a server all through college, and I trained him to serve. And then after college, I served for a couple years after college, but then I was a reporter, in Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
And then I moved to St. Louis and worked for the CBS affiliate in St. Louis. And I was in TV for about 10 years. And Travis went to WashU for his grad degree in printmaking. And he was a printmaking professor. And Travis's family had been running the Brickyard since 1999. It was a family business that was kind of in his blood, and we decided to kind of come help with the family business and move back. So we both quit our jobs. Him before me, he opened the restaurant with our former business partner, Drew Thompson. And then I moved back to Wichita about 10 months later.
So either one of you, at what point in your life were you like, I want to open up a restaurant? Like most people probably aren't like kids.
I'm still looking for that feeling. Yeah, no.
Yeah. I definitely hit a moment. I hit two moments. One, I finally realized that this was going to be my forever career. I thought I was bartending and, doing this as a side hustle until I figured out what I was actually going to do. And at some point it just clicked that this was the industry that really made me happy. But at some point I also realized that Old Town was not where I wanted to be. I started to get too old for Jaeger bombs and 2 a.m. and kids in their 20s throwing up. And that's when I realized that maybe I needed to find something that spoke to me as a growing adult.
And you found the current location, which was it called the Garage before? Was that right?
Yeah. That was a total fluke.
Yeah.
Total fluke. I happened to be in the right place at the right time. It was called the Garage Bar, and at the time that I took it over, it was being ran by Michelle from Michelle's Beach House, and she was ready to get out and sold me the business for a very reasonable price, which I promptly closed down and gave it a once-over and reopened 60 days later.
We went to the Garage a couple times when it first opened, and every single time it was like completely dead.
Yeah. I only went there once as a customer, and I was with a friend who was also a bartender down here. And we ordered some food. We were hanging out. And the waitress looked at him and said, well, I don't know what he was eating. How are your cheese sticks? And he goes, oh, they're really good. And she said, oh, I've never had them. He goes, you should try them. She walked back to the kitchen, got herself a plate, came out and scooped the food off of his plate and turned around and walked off with it.
That's happened to me before one time. I was at the restaurant, I'm not going to say it, still open, and we order a pizza. We're sitting there eating it, and our server comes up. It's like, how's the pizza? I'm like, it's so good and everything. And we said something along the lines of, you should try it sometime. And she literally just grabs a slice of pizza. I was like, I look across the table, and like I mouth, this is really happening right now. And she walks off like, you're right, this is really good, and just leaves. And I didn't know what to do, so we just let it be.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I was like,
I don't want it back.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like slap the hand as it comes across. Just
No,
just
it's
let it be.
entertainment. Yeah, you're there for
Just
it.
another story to put in the memoirs.
But I do remember when you opened the Monarch, kind of like when we opened public, although I think this is probably an even worse location. But I remember when you opened the Monarch, it was regarded as not a great location.
No.
Which is so funny to look back on, because obviously now it's really the anchor for the area, and has really, like, people would scoff at that now. It's a awesome location. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was not looked at as an ideal location when you guys opened. Much like when we opened public, everybody told us it was an awful location for a restaurant, which in a lot of ways it is. There's no signage. It's in a basement. You know, there are all the things working against it. It's in a very old building. The kitchen is like dug into the ground, but we're in Old Town, and just like you're in Delano, there's a lot of foot traffic, so there's a lot of reasons why it's a good location too. But when we first opened, it was regarded as an awful location, and everybody told us not to do it. We didn't have a choice, really, because we had no money, and we weren't. We were moving back to open this business for the location because it was available. Whereas, you on the other hand kind of got to seek out a little bit what you wanted.
What did the public side used to be? Was it just open area or?
So public used to just be a part of the Brickyard. It had some pool tables, and some of the furniture that's in here now was in there. Yeah, it had the shuffleboard table. It's right there. Now we use it as a buffet. And then the booths were here. We painted them. So there's a lot of stuff that, was in Brickyard. But it was basically overflow or if the weather was bad. And it didn't operate in the wintertime too much. They would open for maybe some special events.
So whose idea was it to open up the public?
My husband's. I'm putting that all on him. No.
He gets all the resentment.
Yeah. The Brickyard was an interesting thing. So it was open in '99, and he was in high school, and he told his parents that they were renting Mrs. O'Leary's, which is the gift store upstairs. He said that he wanted to have a local band kind of lineup, and he wanted to have some of his high school bands come play in the courtyard. And at that point, it was totally overgrown. There was no concrete. It was gravel. And he set up a stage, and his dad kind of set up a juice bar kind of thing, and they sold non-alcoholic drinks. And then I think it clicked for his dad at that moment, was like, we should open a bar out here. And so slowly, over a 5-year period, they kind of built the stage, then they built the bar. Well, the bar was first, I think. And then, for the first couple of years, I think they just had porta potties.
Did it take off pretty
well? Or
well?
at least the first year.
I think it would have been 19 when this opened up.
Really?
1999?
Yeah. We were,
Aww.
It was,
Yeah.
we were, I was a senior in high school in '99. So, I think so. I don't know what the sales were the first few years. That would be interesting to go back and look at. But this is our 25th anniversary summer, so we're
Any big
really
plans
excited.
for it?
Yeah, we've got lots of plans. So next week is kind of the kickoff of our anniversary parties. But
this will probably be released in 2 weeks.
But it's been
maybe.
Interesting for me to go back and look at all the old photos, and to also think about what it was like in 1999, and look at all the fun things that we used to do.
Do you see any photos really embarrassing of people? Like someone passed out at a table? There might be one of me passed out at a table. If you look back at 2001, 2002.
Well, we're going to ask people to send us their photos, because I would like to see some of those. And I'm going to put together a little photo wall with people's photos. But I've asked some of the bartenders that used to work here to send me their photos. And, when we first came, Travis and I and Drew, when we first opened up the restaurant, that was 12 years ago now, they had bartenders who had been here for 10 years, they had bartenders who had worked here and really kind of built the business in a lot of ways.
There's the old crew from back in the mid 2000s. It was like Ryan Finn and that whole circle. That
Greg
was,
Rock, and
Rock.
Megan.
Yeah.
Ryan, God bless his soul, but
Greg's-
Greg back.
For a night, a celebrity bartending night, like you do,
I
behind
think
the
Jonas,
bar.
Jonas is still in Wichita.
Yeah, Timmy Jonas. I would love to have. I'm putting it out there right now.
Speak into existence.
Timmy Jonas perform at the Brickyard again. I don't
I'll
know if
shoot-
you
I'll shoot a
ever
message.
saw
I'll shoot a message.
Timmy
Yeah,
Jonas
I did.
perform.
Yeah.
They were so fun. They were great. But I think he's got a full-time job now and probably isn't.
He's got time off. Yeah, we'll reach
He
out
should
to
make
him.
this
Yeah,
happen,
I'll ping him. We'll see if we can make it happen.
I don't know how much he's rehearsing these days, but
So that makes it 25 years for you then, roughly.
No.
Or no, yours was 2012.
12.
Okay,
So the restaurant was
99,
2012.
2012.
Brickyard was '99.
Okay.
So, and I wasn't here for all
Mhm.
of the Brickyard. But 12 years is a big deal too.
I think.
So
I think.
when are
It's
you
a
coming
huge
up?
deal.
I think
Yeah.
1, 3, 5, 10 years is a big deal.
Right. Yeah.
All the years
Yeah.
are a big deal.
I think once you get to 10, there's this feeling of like, okay, if I stop for any reason, if I decide this isn't what I want to do, I can still call it a successful run.
Yeah.
You
I-
know,
I
10
would agree
years
with
feels
that.
good. It's like we did it, we made it to 10, and it's okay if we decide to change course at any point, you know?
I would agree.
What's your favorite part about being in the industry? Take the longest pause if you need it.
It's gonna be an awkward pause. You know, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's the people.
I mean, you can be cliche all you want. If it's people, it's the people.
I love walking
a
around
people
and
industry.
talking to and talking to customers and I love my employees and I love my vendors and I love the other owners that I get to work with and I love getting a text from Brooke and I know immediately when I see her name on my phone, oh, this is going to be good.
Nice and juicy.
Like this, we're about to air.
Something's gone
We're gonna
Yeah.
air it out,
down.
and we'll come out on the other side of this text stream feeling better. But it really is. You get to experience so many different human beings and learn about so many different parts of this city and learn so many different stories that you would never be exposed to if you weren't given the opportunity just to walk up and talk to strangers all day long for your job.
Yeah. It's interesting you said be able to connect with other owners because you guys are involved in a habitat house build,
Mm-hmm.
all right?
Yeah,
Whose idea was that?
mine.
Jen, you're just like ultimate, community person, you know?
Listen, the need in this city is great. And I did this leadership Wichita class. And on the day dedicated to care and community, I asked our nonprofit leaders and I asked John Rolfe from Thrive, what do we do? What do we do as restaurant owners? I feel like I'm asked every single day to donate something to somebody. Is it making a difference? Are we doing the best that we can do with our money and our time and our resources? And everybody up there categorically just shrugged their shoulders. They're like, well, I don't know. So I thought, if I'm frustrated and overwhelmed and don't know how to manage this, I bet none of my friends do either. So I called Brooke. I called the guys at CSB. I said, instead of doing 1,000 little things, what if we all just did a
The
thing?
biggest thing you can think
know,
of,
and-
building a house,
But
right?
it's not even that big. I mean,
It's a big deal.
it's a reallocation. It's not like we all put this big, huge thing on our plate where we're like, oh shit, now we have to build a house. It's just adding some intention to what we're already doing.
And for those that don't know what we're talking about, what is it exactly?
It's called Service for Change. And basically, I think we have 12 restaurants and breweries and bars participating. And we're going to raise at least $100,000 over the next year to build a house for Habitat for Humanity.
It's awesome.
So,
What other, other places off the top of your head are involved?
oh yeah,
The kitchen?
Oh.
could name 'em.
The
Yeah.
kitchen's in there, the Artichoke, River City, Norton's, Belmont,
CSB,
CSB,
Mort's,
Mort's,
Don't forget you two.
yeah,
the Thrive
Okay.
Thrive,
in
so
general.
homegrown.
So
and-
Yeah.
homegrown. Applebee's, I think, is going to help a little bit,
Cool.
but they're trying to keep it more steered towards their locally
Yeah.
owned bake sale. Bake
Mhm.
sale's getting ready to do a cookie
Is
release.
that Parlors or the one on Bradley Fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So and instead of all trying to do one big thing, everyone is really making it their
Pull your efforts together.
own thing. There's
yeah.
cookies
Okay.
and beer and events
And
and
what are y'all doing specifically? Like, does each restaurant have like a little fundraiser, or how's that work out?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this just got kicked off. So, I mean, after this podcast, I plan
Yeah.
on sitting down with Jen a little bit to talk about it. But the hope is that over the next year, It'll also be a chance for us to get together as restaurant owners to discuss what we're doing and also vent a little and
Venting,
and talk about just projects and what we're working on.
The amount of for-profit companies that ask us for donations
it's a lot.
is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Yeah, and our margins are not as you hear all the time, but they've gotten worse. It continues to get worse. It's hard. You know, we're all trying to figure out how to pay our employees more. We're all trying to figure out how to spend a little less so that we can eke margins out. You know,
How do you handle that? 'Cause, I had Alex from Station 8 and the Rickard brothers from Fiorito on a podcast. And they said one of the things they just get asked every day for gift cards for whatever. And it's funny because like as we were recording the podcast, someone actually came in and asked for a gift card. It's like
Every day.
How do you choose? How do you say no to the people?
well, now we say that we're pooling our resources and building a house.
Yeah.
So, and I think our goal, hopefully, is that we can make it successful and we pick a different nonprofit the following year. So maybe each restaurant, you know, maybe it'll be my turn next year to pick someone, or it will be CSB's turn. And so we can all rotate and maybe we do something really big for each nonprofit each year.
How far is a $25 gift card moving the cause forward? I don't know.
Yeah, and
I don't think it is.
And sometimes I don't even know because all these gift cards get donated to silent auctions. Like, is it even raising the value? You know, is it even raising the $50 value of the gift card?
I attend a lot of just random like galas and fundraisers, and they always like those silent auctions. You can get a $100 gift card to such and such restaurant, and I always pay attention like what the bid is, and it's always $95.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone might cap it 100, but you very rarely see it go well over value versus like a table.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this gives us an opportunity to also be a little bit more creative about the way that we're raising money. And we're still giving to some of the causes that we're very already integrated with, because there are a lot of things that, the Monarch is integrated with a lot of nonprofits, and we are as well, that we've been working with for over 10 years. So we're still working with those nonprofits.
I spoke to Andrew Goff over at Reverie one time years ago, and he said
Andrew's in it.
Yeah.
Andrew's in it as
Oh,
well.
yes.
Yeah,
Reverie's
and he mentioned that he gets inundated with requests, and this was years ago. I talked to him about this, and he said he had to come to a point where he had to pick out like what avenue he wanted to donate to, and I think it was like around literacy.
Mm-hmm.
So then he's like, if it's around literacy, I'll try to help out, but otherwise I have to say no, stay focused. Otherwise, you're just be giving out left and right.
Oh, yeah. I found myself not so much caring about just answering the call. Because you get tired of telling people no.
Yeah.
They look at you with this incredulous look like, oh, so you hate children. Okay. Cool. Bye.
I get a lot of messages weekly saying,
Yeah,
hey,
it's
could you
usually
suggest
an email.
Yeah, it's always like, hey, no, they go, can you suggest a restaurant that would donate us some gift cards? And I go, I really don't want to play the middleman there, so you have to figure out for yourself.
I'll say, if you are looking for donations, the best thing to do from a restaurant owner's perspective is go in, have lunch, and ask while you're having lunch. That's always like, I'm way more like likely to give a gift card to someone who's actually like spending money in the restaurant, or if it's a regular, or if it's a patron who I see in here regularly, I'm much more likely to do that than answer an email.
100%. If I'm a restaurant owner and someone's asking me for stuff, I'd be more inclined to help out people I know that support my restaurant.
Yeah.
It's all about the whole pay it forward deal.
Right.
And, all right, let's switch gears. I think the most shit on industry in the entire world is restaurants. Like I remember even like going back to COVID, I was saying that and whatever. I feel like you guys do so much. You guys get asked a lot out of, like we just discussed, and continue just to get shit on. How do you deal with like the negativity in the business besides drinking?
Well,
besides,
besides
drinking.
well,
Uh,
there's a lot of drinking. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, shit, I don't know because it doesn't ever get easier. And this whole, as the whole social, sorry, I've got a little tickle in my throat. I'm moving my microphone around. As this whole, like, I'm going to take it to Facebook mentality gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it makes me want to lose my mind. I mean, we've got a staff of 65 people. Are they firing on all cylinders every day of the week for every
Absolutely not.
customer? Absolutely not.
yeah.
And
Are you able to control them at all times to make sure they don't make mistakes?
absolutely not.
If you could, you'd be God.
But at what point did anybody in the restaurant industry wake up and go, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to go into work and shit on someone's day. That's going to be fun. That's going to make me money. Nobody does that. Nobody gets up and wants to ruin your lunch or ruin your dinner. Everybody is genuinely trying. And when people just go on Facebook or go on Google and just rail on us, I could.
Yeah, those are the reviews that are always the most difficult. I hate seeing reviews that you legitimately let somebody down. Maybe you even already know about the experience and you did your best to make it better, but you did in that moment you scored a D, and you feel bad about that. Like those I do feel bad about. But then there are the reviews where you can tell the reviewer just wants to make it known how much smarter and better at, running a restaurant they are than you would be, than you are. And so it's like, that's where it gets a little frustrating because like you said, Jen, everybody is really trying to do a good job. And so when people review and act like we aren't trying at all, that is just the farthest from the case. Everyone, like you said, Jen, who works for us, legitimately wants everyone to have a good experience. And they might let somebody down, and they might be having a bad day and not be doing the best job, that particular day. But the intention is always for people to walk out with a good experience.
And you're seeing that from your guys' staff.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think that's true. When you're talking about locally run, like full service restaurants, I think that's probably true 90% of the time. I think that everyone's really wants to do a good job. So it's hard when people act like you're not even trying or you're not doing the things you need to do. Because it is a very difficult industry to work in and day out. And, they don't know all the circumstances of like, how many hours that person had worked that week or, the hiring difficulties. There's all kinds of things that come into play. And that's what makes running a restaurant so hard. It's like it can, our fryer was down for the last 2 weeks. Did we order a new one and get it replaced right away? Yes, it came and it was still broken. We got a broken new fryer. We had to send it back. So we didn't have curds for 2 weeks, because that particular, we have to keep curds at a certain temperature, so we need that third fryer. Well, people don't know all those details or care to know all those details, and I don't need to tell that story. But we disappointed people because we were out of curds. And so there are certain things that are just out of your control no matter how hard you try to
Jen
make
looks
it
like
right.
she has like a deep thought.
Yeah.
I've had so many
like,
thoughts. I've had so many thoughts. And, a lot of times you read these reviews. And while I physically want to cause bodily harm to people when I read them, you can also tell these humans are stretched to the max right now. And you can almost tell when you read what people put on the internet that they are so stressed out and they are so exhausted that that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And I try to remember that. But then you read the reviews where someone says, and this is almost a direct quote, every time I've been there, it was great, except this last time. Well, you asshole,
Cut us a break. Yeah.
you've never left a nice review.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because like the whole food and booze group, and like sometimes someone will say that, and what I do, because I'm petty, is I'll go look up that person in that group and see what other posts they've made, and then if they haven't made a single good review, I'll go back and be like, why is it the first time you mentioned this is this one time? Like, why haven't you given them any good reviews previously? And then they never respond, or my comment gets deleted.
Well,
But
and you know what people need to remember? It's that age-old adage. If you meet an asshole in the morning, you met an asshole. If you meet an asshole all day long, you're the asshole. If you're Google, or because I'll go back and look, if you are nothing but a one-star review type of human, maybe you're the asshole. I mean, what's the common
Yeah.
denominator here?
yeah, so
I don't want to call out a certain Facebook post that went insanely wild a couple weeks ago, but by some local, I don't know, food truck owner. But what was the common denominator there? Your bad experiences. I don't think all these people did you as wrong as you made it sound.
Yeah. And I don't, to add on to that,
Yeah.
if somebody in the restaurant has a complaint they'd like to talk to a manager about, like, I have no problem, we have no problem as a staff really addressing those. And so, like, that's a much different thing than having a bad time, not saying anything, and then voicing, your
But
grievances
that's where we're at
online.
now.
Yeah.
I think in general,
Yeah.
that face-to-face
Uh-huh.
conversation is awkward and difficult for people, and they don't want to do it.
Or I've had somebody even email me directly after an experience to let me know. And I always appreciate that, if
Do
a
you
direct
feel-
email.
do you feel bad reviews are necessary though? The conversation I had, because like obviously me blogging about food, like
I mean,
I
here's
feel-
the. Well,
Sometimes, I
yeah.
mean, sometimes they are. But I'll tell you right now, as a restaurant owner, and I know that I am not alone, you tell me that you didn't enjoy your experience or you didn't enjoy your food, I will bend over backwards to make sure when you leave my building, you are happy. That is actually why I opened that place up. That is my job.
yeah.
But I also understand nobody wants to call the manager or the owner over, and
It can make
it's
for
an
an awkward.
uncomfortable conversation. But I promise you're going to get what you want
yeah,
if you just do it.
yeah,
And you also save other people. If there's a training issue, if there's a staff member that needs to be dealt with, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Give me the opportunity to fix it. Don't let that thing just run rampant and let it happen to other people as well.
yeah.
How do you feel?
I
About,
mean-
how do you feel about food bloggers then?
Well, there's a
Listen.
difference.
Listen, you
There's a
guys.
bit of a difference because I think your intention is to go out there and tell the story. Your intention is to promote local restaurants, and sometimes it doesn't hit. Sometimes people don't get the best review, but I think it's a little bit different than everyone putting, than the Google reviews can be, the bad Google reviews. Just because I think in some ways that's what you sign up for as a food blogger, is to tell the good, bad, and ugly in a lot of cases. And I think people earn your trust for that,
Well, and-
but not everybody who writes a Google review is necessarily earn that trust from their readers.
That's okay. So
So.
that's a whole nother,
Yeah.
that freely giving away of our trust. But what I really appreciate about you specifically is you have repeatedly pounded the point home that what you wrote about was your one-time unique experience.
It's not gospel. Yeah.
It's not gospel. It's not every time. someone could go in right after you and have a way better experience, or they could have a way worse experience. But it's
The-
you're so clear and concise about writing about what your experience was, and take it or leave it. It is what it is. I think we've got really great food bloggers. I think the way you guys all write is so entertaining that while it's fun to read the content, you paint such a really fun picture of the whole experience that it's just fun to follow you guys as people around.
The struggle, though, is there are people that will treat it as gospel. Like, I'll see
Or the
comments. sometimes-
comments.
Yeah,
The
or the
comments, yeah.
The comments will say, "Oh, Eddie didn't like it, so I won't go." I'm like, don't say that. Just go.
But you usually
go.
respond to
Yeah.
those. But yeah, the comment section's always where it gets a little hairy. And that's always the scary thing, about those blogs is, okay, what's the comment section going to
Right.
say? What are they going to go after? But, it's all part of the game.
Yeah.
Like, as hard as it is, I do think after having some longevity, I have gotten better at brushing certain things off. And, like I said, when I read something where I see that somebody had a bad experience and I empathize with that, and then I just say, okay, well, I need to do my best to make sure that doesn't happen again and move on.
Yeah.
It's the reviews that are a little bit condescending
Yeah.
or say that your staff isn't trying or that you suck or,
Yeah.
all those things. Your food sucks. You have shitty ingredients when, like, we try so hard to have good ingredients and we spend so much money to have those good ingredients. So
Right.
it's those things that cut a little deeper. Now, please, 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 if somebody's mad at me, don't go write one of those reviews to, like, get at
Well,
me. But,
okay, so then
it's
let's-
like, now that you know the way to my heart or, the opposite of that, please.
If it's okay, then let's dig into this one step further, because I think all of us in the local restaurant scene can all agree that Alex at Station 8 is a little bit of our hero, because not only does he clap back, but then he screenshots and he throws it on his page for everybody to read.
He has guts.
He's got big guts. I would never do that, but God, I love it when he does it. Are people who think it's okay to bully restaurant owners on Facebook in this way maybe learning to take a little bit of a step back because you could get called out for the way that you talk about people?
Yeah.
I did it one time years ago and I got in big trouble. It did
Yeah,
not play well
I
on our
remember it.
Facebook.
Yeah.
We had a 1-star review because we were too busy and located on a roundabout. And the big gripe was that I didn't block the lady's name out when I put it on our Facebook. And my argument was my Facebook following can't even touch the amount of people that have access to Google. She put it on Google.
And
I
when,
mean-
when was that?
Oh, geez, probably 5 or 6
Yeah,
years
it was
ago.
before COVID.
I feel like if you did that now, it'd be a totally different reaction. I think people would be more
Maybe.
supportive. Yeah. I think, like, after COVID,
Yeah,
there's
COVID,
that sense
there was
of
a shift.
yeah, there's a shift
Yeah.
in mindset of, like, defending restaurants and whatnot. And I think that's
Yeah.
one of the things, like, it helps Alex out. It's like, don't shit on them especially if it's not justified.
Just don't be
Yeah.
shitty to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, there was certainly a shift during COVID. The Wichita Food and Booze page is a good example where it was like, let's be positive.
Yeah.
They're working hard. They're doing their thing. But that went away a couple years ago. That probably lasted a year and a half or so, that shift. But what I will say, and it was almost like right away, like when restaurants started to get back on their feet, people felt like now's the time I can really tell them what I think.
Yeah.
I've been holding it in for the last year and a half.
Well-
I've been being good, and so it felt a little bit like that. But I do think there was like a bit of a power shift where people understood it is okay for restaurant owners to do what they want to do. If they want to change their hours, if they want to change the way they do service, if they want to change their menu because of profit margins or whatever, I'm going to give them that leeway and give them the power to do that. I feel like that happened a little bit during COVID, and people still respect that.
I feel like it happened. Yes, I would agree with that. What I feel like, though, is the minute we reopened and we got about 6 months of COVID behind us, people forgot it even happened.
Oh, yeah.
And we are still in the thick of it. We were still in the thick of it. We were still not able to get plastic products, and food costs were through the roof, and we still couldn't get people rehired. And everyone's like, "What's the deal? COVID's over.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're struggling?" And this sandwich just cost $17. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch. Like, prices are still through the roof. I still can't get half my products. It hasn't stopped over here.
Have you noticed that Wichita's a very price conscientious city? Like,
Oh, 100%.
they get so
Yeah.
triggered, so triggered by
100%.
pricing. It's
Right.
Well,
wild.
and I've talked to restaurant owners in Kansas City about that, and I mean, and the KRHA about that specifically, and I mean, our prices are much lower when compared to Kansas City or other metropolitan areas. Because of that, I think there has been a concern from restaurant owners about the backlash of what happens when we raise prices. So, but there was something else I was going to say about COVID. And someone told me once who is fairly with these sorts of historical cycles, told me 5 years that you will not feel back to normal until 5 years, and we're still not there yet.
No, I was
We're
just,
still
it's
like
2024.
yeah,
We're
we're
still
still-
talking about
Yeah,
it.
we're still 6 or
Year
7
left.
months
Year-
away.
Yeah, year left. We'll see. We'll talk about this forever. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest here.
Right.
God.
So let's switch gears to something a little more positive. So you guys have been open for quite a while now, and both relatively busy, especially compared to, like, you drive around restaurants around town, like, you see like empty parking lots. You don't see that here really. What do you attribute that to? Like, what keeps people coming back?
Wichitans love consistency. That's for sure.
Yeah.
As long as you put things out in the same way every time, you earn a different sense of trust from your customers.
Yeah, and I would say you guys are really good at that.
We try. Thank you.
Yeah. We have, we have more of a challenge with that just because our menu rotates and we have there's different things that we're continuing to try to bring to the menu, and so that makes consistency a little bit more difficult. But I think it's, you guys do a great job of that, and it's commendable, especially when you consider the size of your kitchen, because that is very difficult to do in that space.
If I hear
Yeah.
one more time, we have a kitchen that is so wildly, insanely too small for our restaurant, which is why we have the menu that we do. I can only do what I can do. If I have to hear one more time, you know what I hear more than anything? If you want to shift this conversation, do you know? I can't tell you how many times I have heard, well, yeah, you're busy. Look how great your parking is. Or, I can't believe you're this busy when you don't have a hamburger on your menu. Thousands of times I have heard those statements.
Those thoughts never even crossed my mind.
And I said, well, why would I move into this neighborhood next to Ty's and TJ's and serve burgers? Wouldn't, no. And my parking lot's going to go away, so we're going
Yeah.
to see how that works out.
Well, it's difficult to build a menu because you have to consider your staffing, your space, your ingredients, all the things. It's difficult to build a menu for a space like that. We have the same challenge and continue to make things consistently. That's hard.
And speaking of like continual changes, the pop-up area that's continually changing seasonally. Is it seasonally, quarterly?
Oh, I guess
When was the
whenever
last
I want to
one?
change it. So we did a Mardi Gras pop-up, but that was only a couple weeks. This one is nice because we're doing a pop-up called The Wilds, and it's a tropical pop-up, but it's nice because we can keep it up all summer, and so that's the plan. We worked. I had Heather Cartwright, who's an interior designer, helped me, and Amber Wilson, who works at the restaurant, also helped me, and took a lot of time and effort, so I don't want to take it down for a while.
Can people reserve that area then?
Yes,
Or-
yes. So they can reserve that area, and we serve a special cocktail menu at night
Okay.
out there. So yeah, for us, it's a different challenge. Well, I wouldn't say it's a different challenge, but getting people here is so important because our space is so large. So, and the Monarch feels that too. You guys have a big space, so it's like filling those seats is really important. And so, for us, especially being in Old Town where daytime walkthrough traffic can be challenging. So we've just really concentrated on trying to do different things, do lots of events, just host things that will bring new faces in.
Do you know where you guys stand on the like the age scale of other bars in Old Town? Like, who's the oldest now?
Oh, like that's been around the
The
longest?
Mort's? Is Mort's-
Well, is Mort's older than Brickyard? Yeah.
Surely, yeah.
They just turned 25 like a few years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. So
Yeah,
they're like
'cause
28 or something.
Didn't they do a huge parking lot party?
How long has Bacon's been around? You know?
It was America's Pub for a while, right? Or I don't.
Emerson.
America's
See,
Pub
my
was over there.
history-
America's
okay.
Pub was there.
My history isn't as
I
good.
started at Emerson Biggins as a server in 2001, and I want to say it was maybe a year or two old at that time,
Okay.
because before that it was Union Station.
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm
Google
I'm
that.
so curious. I probably won't even find it by enough time. No, it doesn't say. Quick Google search.
You know
says
what you need to
nothing.
do out there? You need to do some retro bar pop-ups. Like, go get a disco ball saddle and do a cowboy pop-up.
What was the name of the bar that was
And we'll
next
play
door?
Pussy Control on repeat.
What was the bar that was next door? They used to have like a little pizza.
Tories.
Tories.
Tori's
Yeah.
Pizzeria.
Turned into Finn's Lounge.
Finn's Lounge. That was it. Yeah.
And then
I
Finn's
remember
moved up the
Finn's
street.
Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Finn's was fun.
It was a good time.
It was a lot of fun.
I remember like and then all the little old bars on Douglas that used to be around. Like Kelly's Irish Pub. They used to have 3-for-1s on Wednesdays
Yeah.
when I was in college. That was a lifesaver.
An alibi room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Alibi Room.
So outside of the restaurants, what keeps you sane? Like, I mean, you're relatively busy. I mean, you're a volunteer at the Riverfest.
Yeah, that's not what
Yeah.
keeps me
Yeah,
sane.
so what keeps you sane then?
You know, it's really funny that you asked that because I have recently hit this plateau where I'm like, I need to find a thing. I need to figure out who I am.
Gonna start
And-
knitting.
Well, I've started cycling. I really like to bike ride. We have a lot of friends who are just animals at long distance biking. 20 miles almost killed me, but I'm trying to make that my thing. I live in Riverside. I'm perfectly set up for it because I don't have anything. I have work and then come home and decompress from work.
Like no
Yeah.
hobbies? No hobbies? Like
I mean, I volunteer
pickleball?
a lot. I
Is
volunteer.
volunteering a hobby though? That's not really
No.
a hobby.
No, that was a really sometimes it is. I mean, I can't say Riverfest isn't my hobby. I do enjoy my time out there just getting shit on by the general public. It's freaking rewarding, folks. But it's a hobby, but I need to find something on a daily basis. It's
Yeah.
not going to be knitting. It's definitely not reading.
I hate to read too. so
Just
I get it.
something. I need to find something that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna plan this into my day, and so that's what I'm aspiring to do is kind of get back on that biking and hiking and outdoorsy fun thing.
Brooke?
I want to go bike riding with Jen now. I want to get
Let's
I need to
go.
get my bike together and no well, so I have 2 kids, so I don't really have
leaves no room for hobby,
yeah, at the moment, but like I'm getting to a point now they're like 7 and 3 where I need to find my hobby. I need to do my thing. So I need to, get outside more. Work off.
Is it possible to find a hobby with a 3-year-old? Mine's 4, and I have.
As they get older, I think it gets a little easier, right? So
What's your hobby?
My hobby? I have lots of hobbies.
Outside of the blog?
Outside of the blog, outside of work.
Vegas bombs.
Outside of Vegas bombs are when I'm like, I haven't had a Vegas bomb in a couple months. But maybe I have one on the way out.
We should do that before we all leave
Yeah.
today.
My hobbies, what would
gonna
I
make
say?
us one.
Yeah.
You're probably the best
Yeah,
at
you're,
it.
you're the most seasoned. I
I'll
just
get it.
I just
Yeah.
order them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I like to play golf, pickleball when I have time. Board games. It's like therapeutic to me. I'm trying to think what else. Just hanging out, finding a patio, having some drinks. That's relaxing, but it's not a hobby. So yeah, I don't know.
Do you know what I do love in the winter is doing puzzles.
I love puzzles too. Like over Black Friday, I bought this puzzle board on Amazon. It's like $40, and it's this basically a little portable. I don't know, a corkboard table.
I need a puzzle
And
board.
it has like little shelves in the little slots for extra pieces.
Got like a cover.
Has a cover, and you can buy like a little Susan. So it's kind of a lazy Susan to move it around. It's pretty
I think
cool.
I remember seeing that on your.
It's
We
pretty cool.
just leave ours on the
Page.
dining room table for
I
2
know.
months
Yeah.
until
We
we're
got-
finally like, we
we got
get
kids.
this
We have
done.
kids, the dog, and who knows what they're gonna get into. So
Yeah.
I love that. Let's go biking and puzzling.
have you done the We Ride thing? Like, do you do exercise biking? Like super you're getting on
Like
top of it.
Peloton?
Yeah, the Peloton stuff.
No.
There's some businesses that just opened up called We Ride, and it's like exercise biking. I actually reached out to them, how long it would take, and they said it's like 40 minutes, but it's intense. I'm not ready for intense activities yet.
No. I'll go to the Y and do a
I used to
spin
love
class
to
and-
spin, but it's been a while.
I do too because I don't spin
Yeah.
as hard as they tell me to spin.
What
I'm
is
not going to
spin?
keep
Yeah, are you
cranking
actually
it up
are you
and
actually
cranking
spinning?
it up. No, it's a spin
No,
class. It's like a stationary
cycling.
bicycle
Okay.
class.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
painful.
Oh,
Yeah, you
that would
just-
be a good blog.
I've thought so. Are they still open yet? Spin ICT? Have they closed?
I don't know.
There was a biking place out west, and it was like, but everybody I talked to said their ass hurt after doing it. Like,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound fun to me. Like, trust me, I'm all about experiencing different things and trying things that take me out of my comfort zone. But if it involves like my body aching and hurting, like I don't know. I just,
Okay, so explain how that philosophy works into going out and drinking with the guys.
that's just a good
Because
time. That's just-
your body hurts the next.
It does.
That body hurt. I
bo-
can't
but
take that
the
anymore.
body, but the
Yeah.
body aches, those go away.
We've all
The-
discussed our age
yeah.
at this
Yeah.
table. Like we
I
understand.
mean, Jen and I are the
that.
same
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
You know, Jen and I went to high school together.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
High school, college, like we just can't
Oh,
escape each other.
really?
I
Yeah.
know.
What high school?
Caping.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But seriously, like your body aches, but that goes away over time. A week, 2 weeks, if it's really bad, 2.5 weeks. But the memories and the fun times, the stories you have from that moment, that lives on forever. I think one of my best friends, Danny, I haven't seen him. He comes in Wichita maybe every 5 years or so.
I didn't know he didn't live here
he lives
anymore.
in Colorado now. And one of the few times he came into town, we actually came here. And we partied out in the Brickyard, and everybody got, probably more drunk than they should have been. But we laughed that night. We had so much fun together. And just when you have a group of friends that you don't see too often, you cherish that moment. And we had it here in the Brickyard. We still talk about that one time
Yeah.
because he came really late, and we were here drinking. And by the time he got here, we were way past where we should have been. And he catches up to us, and it was just debauchery ensued. But it was
Send me a picture. I'm working on a picture
Oh.
wall of moments
don't
that
know
have happened over the
I don't-
last
I don't
25
know if we have
years.
those pictures, but that was a good time, and I mean that's why we do it. It's like
Yeah.
we regret it the next day, regret it 2 days later, 3 days later, 4 days later, and then we laugh about it 7 days later, and it's just a story for us.
Isn't it so much fun for you though? Like when you stop and think that you own the place that somebody over here is talking about making memories at.
Yeah, I'm sure people have come to you and told you that they've had their first date at the
Yes.
Monarch. Like we get that a lot, and I love that. That's
We had another engagement a
Amazing.
couple weeks ago. He's like, "This is where we had our first date. I
Right.
want to propose to her here."
they
and I'm
want
like,
this specific booth.
never
they
in
want-
my life did I think
Yeah.
that I was going to build the type of place where people wanted to get engaged.
right. Yeah.
it makes you so happy. It's also kind of, that's a big responsibility if you stop and think
Yeah.
about it sometimes.
Is it though? I mean,
Yeah, I never signed up to be part of people's really important life moments,
Food-
and that's
food
a
brings
really
people
big
together.
honor. That's a huge honor to be able
food brings people
to
together.
be allowed to be part of that, and it just, again, circling back
Yeah.
to the shitty reviews. We understand.
Yeah.
We understand you've entrusted us with your free time and your money and your happiness.
I think the allure for me, for you, your guys' establishments, are it's a place that people of all ages can really gather. There's places in Old Town that are more tailored towards a younger crowd, and there's certain places that are like an older crowd, but it's very eclectic at both places. I mean, we've had date nights where we go to Monarch, have a couple drinks, sit in the patio, or play darts. We've come here to sit out here, have some drinks, or maybe listen to some live music because it's in all ages. If you got there, I mean, you have
Absolutely.
people
Yeah,
from
that's-
all ages, someone
yeah.
from like 20 all the way to like 60 out there dancing,
Yeah.
just enjoying the night.
We called ourselves public because we felt like the Brickyard had such a reputation of being that place to go out, get drunk, do your thing. And so we wanted really for the restaurant to feel very like all encompassing. And so that's why we gave it this generic, like big umbrella name of public.
So I'll put you on the spot real quick.
Yes.
Favorite 3 live shows you've seen that you've had here at the public?
So Lucero comes to mind. We had Lucero here, and that was really exciting for me. Carrie Nation was here last year, which we've had them many times, but when I saw them last year, I just remembered why I love having them here so much. And these are just quick off the
Yeah.
top of my head.
Yeah,
So
it'll
like
probably
I
change tomorrow.
I could I could be forgetting, but and then when Phil played here,
Oh, Phil. Oh, my
with
gosh.
Spirit of the Stairs, that was really cool. So because I was a Phil groupie when I was 15. So I've known Alex Thomas since I was 15 years old,
Yeah.
and lived in Winfield. And Phil was mainly a Winfield. Like it was a group of guys mainly from Winfield. So that was really cool.
Do you come here often? You catch some shows? Get a shift over to the
Yeah,
Monarch
I
done,
don't
walk
think-
over. Not walk, it's a long walk.
I don't think we've been here for a show in a while.
Yeah,
But this is one of Kyle and I's favorite places to come.
Yeah.
We'll sit at
we
the bar.
certainly drink here together
Yeah.
for sure.
We do.
But
Come in, sit at the bar. Leslie's working, maybe Dallas. One of those two will take care of us. I will eat something, some sort of salad with kale in it. That's really all I'm looking for. I'm like, give me some kale and a
With
little
maybe some fried cheese.
fried
yeah,
goat cheese,
yeah.
even better. A Publix smash,
Probably one of my favorite events in Wichita takes place here.
garlic fest.
Garlic
Oh,
Fest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
What'd you think I was going to say? Crawford Cancer?
I don't know. Yeah,
Not Crawford. I don't miss those days anymore. That's for sure. No, Garlic Fest is
Yeah.
a blast here.
yeah. It's
I think people, if they've never
Yeah.
heard of it, they should check it out. It takes place in September.
September.
Yeah.
Yep, I think it's September 10th this year.
And last year it grew. I mean, you guys expanded out further
Yeah.
out along. Is that
we're
Rock Island?
expanding, and we're expanding this year because every year we get a lot of complaints
Mm-hmm.
about like there just not being enough space. So we're gonna go. The plan is, and we've been talking with the city about it, going into Old Town Farm and Art
Oh, the square
Plaza.
area?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that there's more space for people to roam. So, but I wish like that's what Old Town really should be all about. It's awesome having street events in
Yeah.
Old Town, and the more of them, the better.
Jen, are you still doing your the bartending?
I
deal?
am. I
Yeah.
am. We just did one a couple weeks ago with Marty Johnson.
Humankind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Marty and 2 other gentlemen, Tyler and this other guy, Cassidy, are riding. They're doing Ride the Divide. They're riding the entire Continental Divide. And they're pairing that with trying to raise $100,000 for humankind. So I had all 3 of those gentlemen out a couple weeks ago to help them fundraise.
It's such a fun idea.
For people
I
who
love
don't know what that is, what is that?
humankind?
No, the bartending deal.
Okay, so quarterly, maybe less this year because I'm trying to rally more time and funds for this Habitat for Humanity thing. we have local celebrities come out, and they're local celebrities that are special to the Monarch or special to me personally. It's not open to just whomever. They get to come out and bartend for the evening to raise money for a charity of their choosing. They get to make their own signature cocktail, and we give all the proceeds from the cocktail. We give a portion of the proceeds from the sales that night, and the tip money goes back to that bartender. You did it last year.
It's pretty fun, yeah.
It's fun. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. You get to razz and make fun of some poor schmuck behind the bar who doesn't really know what they're doing.
It's such a fun idea, and I've seen that, at other bars. But what makes your events so unique is the charitable component. It's like always fun to go to a celebrity kind of bartending sort of thing, but like the charitable component really like makes that
When
special.
you mix drinking and charity,
Because
Oh, people
Things
are all
get-
for it, yeah.
things get fun.
yeah.
I mean, that's why they have drinking all the, fundraisers.
I've
Gotta
bought some
bump up- yeah.
stupid stuff, some really stupid
What's the
stuff.
what's the dumbest thing you've purchased off the top of your head?
Oh my gosh! So at the at YMCA Wine and Dine last year, what I get real crazy about is the silent bidding.
Yeah.
Like the silent auction bidding on your phone.
Yeah.
So at Wine and Dine last year, they stuck me in the really far back corner and asked me to bring spinach and artichoke dip. And I was already off to a really, do you remember when I called you because I didn't pay attention and I brought open flame for my chafers?
Oh yes, yeah.
In a room full of jet fuel, and I couldn't I couldn't use it. And I called Brooke, and I'm like, oh, I'm in so much trouble. So I get there, and I'm like, screw it. Nobody knows I'm back in this corner. Nobody is eating my spinach dip. So I just start drinking wine. And then I start bidding on things. And I ended up accidentally buying 2 custom-made fire pits. But these fire pits were so big and so heavy I couldn't move them. And I got in a little wee bit of trouble with the venue because they're like, you have to get these out of here. I'm like, I drive a Volvo. I'm just clicking things on my phone.
But that's always the weird thing about those silent auctions is some of the things that raise the most amount of money are big.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have to get it off site that night, and it's like, I've had 3 drinks.
3?
I can't get this. I can't get this dining room table out of here right now. I didn't realize that was.
I also didn't
the
need a dining room
requirement.
table,
Yeah.
so
I mean, that's the thing. Like, half things people buy from these auctions you don't need or really even want half the time. I went to a.
It just seems like a really
Yeah.
good deal. So
Well,
you're
at
like,
the time,
okay,
once
yeah.
you once you start drinking, it sounds like a good idea.
You're
And then you're
like-
like, it's for a good cause
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I went to this Textron event, and I don't watch NASCAR and stuff. I don't pay attention to it. I know nothing about it. But there was this NASCAR suit, and it was an actual used suit from a NASCAR race with the gloves. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool to have. So then I bid on it. Some guys bidding against me. I'm bidding back, and I won it. And so I have this NASCAR used fire suit that was used in actual like NASCAR 500 race or whatever they call it, with gloves. I've had it for the last 10 years. And it's just
I
been
have a
boxed up.
mannequin at my house. Do you
Boxed
want
up.
it?
No, because I have no place. I would get in trouble if I put that on display at home. I mean, she'd be like, what are you doing? What is this? And no. But 2 weeks ago, there's this thing called Glass House Racing. It's like a
Yeah.
and I was like, we did it. I did some other bloggers, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a race car suit. So I found it in the garage, took it out. It smelled so bad because I guess they never washed
Full
it.
of chemicals, yeah.
Well, it smelled like gas fumes, and I'm told they pee inside the outfit too.
Shut
Because
up.
like, if you're a NASCAR driver and you're going 500 laps over so many
Yeah.
hours, you have to go to the bathroom. What else do? You go inside the suit. So they said, yeah, sometimes all the suits probably smell like urine and everything. And I didn't even bother to smell it, but I put it on and wore it to the glass house to do racing, and it fit pretty snug. I was hot as hell though, because it was really hot that day. But
That's
I remember when I took it off, it did smell just not good. But I found a use for it, 10 years later.
Good.
Okay. I would have just donated it back to another charity to re-auction it.
I figured I'd have use for it one day, and I did.
Was it somebody famous?
His name is Ricky Menard, of the Menard store.
Yeah.
He's a race car driver, and I think he finished like 4th in one race one time, which is I guess good. I don't know, but it has his signature on there, and I mean I might let one of the kids wear as a Halloween costume now that I have it.
Yeah.
Just it'll be the most expensive Halloween costume in our neighborhood.
How are you gonna clean it?
You just don't clean it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a teenager at home. He's not gonna care.
Yeah.
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 I love it.
Yeah. All right. So that was pretty quick. That was an hour. That was over an hour.
It's Vegas bomb time.
It is. Any last words for your fans? For your
Our
frequent
fans.
frequent customers.
I guess thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for choosing us, and thanks for being awesome. And if you left here with one mission statement today, it would be to go leave a good review.
Okay.
Leave 2 good reviews.
I'll go on Google after this. And
Go think of something nice to say about somebody who needs to hear it.
Yeah, or just even say it to
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily all about the Google reviews, although those are great.
could be just as positive
but
even on
but
their own
there
Facebook
are
feed.
there
Yeah.
are like sometimes those days when you read things that you don't love, somebody cancels it out with just being super nice and complimentary, and you can tell that you help them have a fun day, so that always feels good.
Go say something nice about the Riverfest. That was
Do
too
you-
big.
will
That was too
really
much
make
of an
a-
ask.
Yeah,
I
will that
I
really
actually
make
have
a difference
I have
for
a
you,
video
Jen?
I made for it. It's going to go out this afternoon
Oh,
about the
okay.
Riverfest Button
Yes.
Man.
Oh,
Jay-
he's fun.
JW. Yeah. I met him earlier today, and I recorded.
Have you
some.
seen the Riverfest Button Man? He has a shirt with every
Oh, with
button.
all the buttons.
54 buttons?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
and a
That's
beard,
cool.
and
Yeah.
he doesn't do much. He just
That
sits around.
So that's
and-
something we used to do is we'd have servers where we had a bunch of old buttons and the servers would wear them during Riverfest. And so then people started bringing us buttons because they wanted our servers to have them. It was fun.
Aw.
So I'll say this. I want to thank you two. I know you guys have done a lot for our community. I love both
We
your
should be
establishments.
thanking you.
No, don't thank me at all. And I'm going to figure out some way to donate to your guys' deal. I have
Yay.
some events coming up,
Thank you.
and I'll get something.
Yeah. Well, and
thank
if
you.
if you help promote the events, that
Yeah.
will go a long way
Yeah.
because your reach is wide.
You know
Crazy.
you've got a racing suit you can donate.
I do. Now
That's
I'm
been peed in.
do I,
Donate to Jen.
I could pee in it also.
You
So not only is it peed by Ricky Menard, but peed by Wichita YEB. Would that decrease the value? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
see
No,
how it could.
No, not if it's already been peed in.
No.
Yeah. We'll only increase it.
Okay. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We had a great time.
Awesome.
I always love an excuse to get together with Jen.
Okay.
So thanks for bringing us together.
The power players. Okay. Thank you all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, everything. Who knows? We'll see you.